So this is the resistor for the heater blower to adjust the speeds of your fan, for your air conditioning or heater. It actually mounts right up in top in the bottom of the blower plastics assembly. And I'm going to be cleaning this off with some white vinegar. Try to get all that rust off. It's not technically really important to do this, but I wanted to see how well this method worked, and I've used it before and it's worked well. And this little resistor here is, can cost from $20 to $50 depending if you get a dealer version or not, aftermarket. So I put that in, I have my little toothbrush ready, and this is actually, I just skipped along forward to after waiting for a few hours. Usually a day or two is like we'll get all the rust off of a part. You can see this must be the next day actually. Yeah, you can see how much rust is in there. So take it out, use a Q-tip and toothbrush and kind of rub all the rust off, and then pop it back in there if needed. And this part is just plastic and steel, or copper bars, that are going through and welded to each other, soldered to each other. So there's no risk in here of the vinegar really ruining anything. So now I've gone outside and taken a bunch of exhaust manifold nuts and different bolts that I had from taking apart the engine that I might reuse, and put them in this same little cup, bottom of a 2-liter bottle. And now I'm at the point of kind of rinsing and checking status on these things. So this one's not looking a whole lot better, although some of the rust did come off. I'm going to put it in for longer and hopefully, get these looking even better. There is a danger in doing this if you're going to reuse parts, if the rust has, been able to really chew through the surfaces and you get the rust off, and then you don't have as much bite in your threads, or your part is weakened, not as strong. So be careful of that. This bolt here is looking a lot better. It really had some surface rust after I took it out of the engine or wherever it was. It might hold the alternator in or the power steering pump. But it's looking better already. But you can see it's rubbing off there. So you definitely always want to rinse with water and get all the acid off of the parts so it doesn't further degrade them. But they're looking really good now. Been in there 3 days. And some of the vinegar that I used, I had actually saved from getting some rust off of other parts, and so the vinegar's kind of all red and gross, but it works okay. Fresh vinegar is always better. This one's looking good. And you do want to rinse these off, but then you also want to dry them quickly. Now this is the little pin for the hitch in the back of my truck, and that side I did a little better than this side, left it in a little longer. I could use some more, but you could see how it was all pitted and eaten away, so you want to be careful with pieces with a lot of force on them. Now I'm just heading back into the back of the FJ, continue my work back here of cleaning up and getting ready to put the insulation in. I noticed these little kind of divots in there and was wondering if those were actually rust coming in from the underside. But later I'll show you that it actually isn't. I think it's just an imperfection in manufacturing, some little bit of oxidation. These are all the parts that I pulled out of the dash going through. You can kind of recognize a couple of those foam pieces from the back, but there's some of the HVAC stuff, some cowlings. The vents, I really wanted to steam clean and clean those out well, because there were mice crawling around and pooping inside this truck.